Tonight, the Air Canada strike is over, but some travelers are still stranded. A delay in the BHP Jansen project has the NDP calling for the PST on construction to be cut. And breaking ground on Regina's new aquatic center.
Live from our studios in Regina, this is CTV News.
Good evening. Despite a tentative deal being reached by Air Canada and its flight attendants, it may take upwards of 10 days for their flight disruptions to finally settle down. That's too late for many travelers, including one Saskatchewan baseball team set to compete at Nationals this week. Donovan Maess has more.
Without stepping onto the field for Nationals, the Team Saskatchewan under-15 boys baseball team has already been thrown a curveball.
We were supposed to fly out about 11 and then get into PEI about midnight, and yeah, we're on plan B for sure.
Father Kirby Inverardi and his family had 7 seats booked with Air Canada to watch his son Avon play in PEI. All were canceled Monday prior to Air Canada reaching a tentative deal with its flight attendants.
We were just hoping that the later flight for the boys actually stayed intact. It's more for the kids, the disappointment.
Coming from Regina to try and get all the way to the Maritimes in Charlottetown, there's not many options out there.
And they're not the only team scrambling to find alternative arrangements.
We were able to confirm the attendance of the 8 teams out of the 10.
Team Sask is one of at least 3 teams for the tournament affected by the cancellations.
We had to do some juggling with Team Quebec to get them on a bus. Saskatchewan's going to make it, and we're just finalizing a deal right now to try to get Manitoba here through Maine.
And while Team Sask had one last practice in Regina Monday,
please visit westjet.com.
Parents in the bleachers swapping their seats on other airlines to allow their boys to play.
You can't ask for anything more, like to step up and give out flights and do whatever they can do to get their kids there. It's just super impressive.
And it's not lost on the young men what their parents have gone through to get them to Summerside.
It just shows how much they care about us and want to see us play at that level. We gotta play for them and just play for our province and hopefully bring back some medal.
Saskatchewan is set to play their first game on Thursday against Quebec. Donovan Maess, CTV News, Regina.
Now, while some passengers are pushing to make their trip still happen, some people are just trying to find a way back home. As Laura Woodward tells us, there are hundreds of Saskatchewan travelers stranded, having to pay out of pocket for accommodations.
A trip to visit friends in Penetanguishene, Ontario turned sour for Jennifer Raposo and Dwayne Toole. On Saturday night, hours before they were supposed to go home, their Air Canada flight from Toronto to Winnipeg was canceled.
A little homesick, frustrated, right?
My anxiety is through the roof.
Toole says Air Canada only offered a refund or credit, forcing them to pay $2,600, nearly 5 times their original fare, to get home on Wednesday.
He said, no, because it's a strike, you can either take it as a credit on your Air Canada account, through the wallet, or we can refund you the money. Would you like me to process the refund? I said, yes. And then he's like, would you like me to help you book another flight with another airline? I was like, are you guys going to pay for it? And he said no.
Air passenger rights advocate Gabor Lukács says airlines are required to cover the cost of rebooking flights.
Air Canada is trying to push refunds on passengers because it's way cheaper for Air Canada to trick you. I mean, actually, I'm comfortable with being quoted that what Air Canada is doing is actually fraud. It's fraudulent.
Lukács is urging travelers who paid out of pocket for new flights to take the airline to small claims court. CTV News has contacted Air Canada for comment on the situation, but did not hear back by broadcast.
This is after I voiced my frustration and concerns and turned down the refund again.
Meanwhile, Nigel Maxwell, whose flight was also canceled, says he had to repeatedly refuse a refund before being rebooked on a Tuesday flight, extending his family trip to Ottawa by 3 days.
Until I touch ground in Saskatoon, Saskatchewan, and step in my car at the airport, I'm going to be holding my breath.
Laura Woodward, CTV News, Saskatoon.
A man was arrested by RCMP on the George Gordon First Nation after a woman was injured at a residence there. Around 8:30 in the morning, officers responded with the woman being taken to hospital by Stars with serious injuries. The man was discovered in a nearby area surrounded by trees and arrested. RCMP continue to investigate. BHP now confirms production at the second stage of its Jansen potash mine will be delayed until 2031. That's 2 years later than planned. Progress-wise, the initial stage of the mine is 68% complete, but first potash production in the initial stage has also moved back to its original mid-2027 target. The mining giant cites costs as the main reason in its annual report, with the first phase now estimated to cost $7.4 billion. That's up $400 million from the initial projection. A further update on the full cost of the mine is expected sometime next year. The Saskatchewan NDP is using this delay to call for an end to PST on construction.
The Premier, Scott Moe, has a lot to answer for on these fronts. So I hope that he's straight with the people of Saskatchewan and will answer for the string of bad economic news of economic losses. And we need to reverse this pattern of economic losses and of delays and of projects being shelved. And we need to secure not just these projects and lock them down, but projects in sector after sector all across our province.
Once both stages are complete, the mine is expected to produce about 8.5 million tons of potash per year. Saskatchewan pharmacists will soon be able to take new training, allowing them to substitute medications under certain conditions. The province says the move will allow pharmacies to make faster adjustments based on availability and patient needs in case of issues like supply disruptions or shortages. Training will be overseen by the Saskatchewan College of Pharmacy Professionals as well, the circumstances where pharmacists can make substitutions. Farm Credit Canada is extending its trade disruption supports to canola producers. Regina-based FCC says in light of the new tariffs impacting canola seed exports, it's offering relief options for customers who meet lending criteria. Options include deferral of payments and additional loans up to $500,000. The new canola tariffs, which went into effect last week, saw China place an additional 75.8% duty on Canadian canola imports, causing strain for producers across the country. Well, after years of discussion and debate, the indoor aquatics facility in Regina has taken the next step. Today, shovels hit the ground with construction set to begin next month. Mick Favel is there to see the beginning of where the swimming hub will one day stand.
Shovels and an auger breaking ground on a groundbreaking project in Regina. Located behind the Lawson Aquatic Center on the Old Riders practice field will one day stand a state-of-the-art aquatic facility.
Excited, relieved that we got to this point where we're actually moved some dirt today and that we can really feel the project starting to come alive now that we've broken grounds.
The major project comes at a cost of $313.6 million. The federal government will provide $51.2 million in funding, while the provincial government will fund $42.7 million. The city of Regina will cover $219.7 million.
To have the flexibility to be able to provide opportunities for municipalities to invest in their communities, build, high quality, good projects like this one, and be able to provide that to the citizens of their municipalities and the people of this province.
Marge Walton is the executive director of Swim Saskatchewan. She feels this facility isn't just for Regina residents, but for visitors from small communities as well.
When they come to Regina, they're not going to Lawson Pool because there's nothing to do there. However, when they go to other cities where there is the leisure side of the pool, that's what they're doing in between their games. So there's huge opportunity for, especially for visitors coming to the city.
$28.5 million of the budget will go towards the geothermal heating of the facility. It uses heat from deep underground, and it's believed it will save the city millions of dollars in heating costs. Construction will begin next month, while the facility is projected to open in 2029.
Yeah, it's an incredibly exciting day for the community, for Regina, and it just shows that Regina deserves nice things.
Mick Favel, CTV News, Regina.
Well, a pool would have been a good idea, Sabine, today, as those extreme heat warnings out in southern Saskatchewan.
Yeah, I'm sure many may have taken advantage of that, Lee. And that'll be the same situation as we head into tomorrow. Those excessive heat warnings continue to be in effect for southern Saskatchewan. But on top of that now, we are starting to see some severe thunderstorm watches, which is the case when we see those very, very warm temperatures coming through the area. Now, it's largely staying in south central Saskatchewan when it comes to those severe thunderstorm watches. And as of right right now. They are just watches, not any warnings, but the temperatures are still quite warm in southern Saskatchewan. We're seeing those temperatures currently sitting in the 30s, low to mid 30s. As we travel further up into northern Saskatchewan, we're back into seasonal range for what our temperatures are normally like for this time of year. So about 25 degrees is the average. We got up to 34 degrees late this afternoon, and it felt like 38 degrees. And tomorrow it's another low 30 day for many parts of southern Saskatchewan, but I'll have all the details coming up in your full forecast. Lee?
Thanks, Sabine. While we may get some heat across Saskatchewan today, obviously, this summer has been relatively cool, according to Environment Canada. As Carla Shinkaruk tells us, warmer summers in the past years may be exaggerating our perceptions on just how much cooler it really is.
Yeah, this year was really rainy, though, like more extreme rains.
These friends are enjoying the warm temperatures, which have been rare this summer.
We've had a lot of rainy days.
The weather is making it challenging for this mom to plan.
It's really put a damper in all these fun activities for outside for the kids. It's nice that it's getting nicer now, that we can, but it's almost school.
And that aligns with what Environment Canada is telling us.
This is probably the coolest summer we've had since 2020.
Low pressure playing a part in keeping temperatures about half a degree cooler on average in July and August. Wildfires also a factor.
There was a while there where we're dealing with a lot of smoke as well. We've seen it in the past where if we get into really thick smoke, sometimes that can suppress temperatures. So that might have something to do with it.
Days where the temperatures soared are few compared to 2021, which was a hot summer. In 2021, Saskatoon had 32 days over 30 degrees, while Regina had 33 days. Compare that with 2025 so far, Saskatoon only 6 days, Regina 9 days above 30 degrees. Comparisons like this could make it seem cooler this summer.
That's not to say that this summer has necessarily been that cold. It's more a reflection of how hot the last several summers have been. There might be a little bit of recency bias built into people's perceptions there.
For seasonal shops, weather always playing a part, but business is steady.
It's been a lot more sporadic. It's not consistent at all. We've had some very, very slow days, and then once it's nice, it's incredibly busy.
At the bus stop, the owners are new and they're optimistic.
This summer is not so hot, to be honest. It's a little bit rainy.
People, even the people who didn't want to come last year, they just like so excited to come right now.
So not to be totally discouraging, Environment Canada does tell me that there is some hope for the end of August and into September to see some of those warm temperatures, maybe even into the 30s. Carla Shinkaruk, CTV News, Saskatoon.
Well, it's a big moment for any kindergartner, hopping on a school bus for the very first time. Now, to make the first day of school a little less stressful, Regina School Divisions team up every year to give new students a bit of a test run. Brittany Poitras has more.
They've heard the song. Now, these young students are seeing the wheels on the bus go round and around. For real.
I'm actually an elementary school teacher, and I just know how important it is to prepare kids for what they're going to experience, especially when it's something brand new.
It's a part of the Regina Public School and Catholic schools holding their annual First Ride Day. The goal is providing students, parents, and teachers alike with a peace of mind by educating new and returning students about school bus safety. Transportation to and from school will become a daily routine for many of the youth in attendance, which is why helping them be ready for their first bus ride is so important.
Going into an unknown is always scary, especially for little kids, but also for their families. For some of these families, many of them new Canadians, they've never had to experience a school bus. And this is a chance for them to see and not have an unknown on the very first day of school.
A school bus also isn't the only transportation option, so the soon-to-be students in attendance were able to cycle through different sessions, including learning from the School Bus Safety Patrol, the Saskatchewan Safety Council, and listening to important safety tips from bus drivers.
This is a zero zone. We can't see you at all. You must be at least 12 feet out from the bus. So when we come to our stop, you're making sure you're not fooling around, and you're standing still and waiting until the bus comes to a complete stop.
The first day of school might not be here just yet, but when it does come, these students will be ready. Brittany Poitras, CTV News, Regina.
We're in our
Great.
Greetings, everyone. The 2025 Masters Indigenous Games in Ottawa wrapped up over the weekend. The event saw Indigenous communities from around the world show off their skills and their culture. CTV's Josh Morano reports.
For athletes like Mariah Altman and Reese Peltier, competing in the Masters Indigenous Games is a dream come true.
It's intense. I don't know. When I come here, I would be like, okay, these teams will be easy, but like it's hard. It's hardcore ball.
This is their first year participating in the event, and say being able to play the sport they love against people from around the world is an exciting experience.
We're from around here, like down north. Well, I am. Yeah. So I don't really get to meet people from up north, and just connecting and making those cultural exchanges is really nice.
Ottawa welcomed dozens of Indigenous athletes from around the world to compete in sports like volleyball, basketball, and archery.
It's our first time to the Indigenous Masters, so it's been fun. We've enjoyed it. Like I said, our granddaughters played on a couple teams.
We have athletes from Greenland, from Alaska, from New Zealand, from Mexico, like just all over. It's just a great opportunity for them to come, and that's probably the biggest difference, is that we have the countries representing them.
In Lansdowne Park, the second year of the Games wrapped up in style with the Culture Village, bringing food, performances, and the Reconciliation Run Walk, a final moment of unity.
Athletes are encouraging each other and supporting each other, and it's really nice to see them together, just cheering on each other. It's a really good experience.
For Altman and many others, the Games mean more than just competing. It's about showcasing their culture and pride.
It's like amazing that they're giving opportunity for Indigenous people, especially for older. I know, like when we competed 2022 with the youth, it was just nice to meet new people.
Josh Morano, CTV News.
If you have a story you would like to see in this segment, here's how to reach us. You can contact me by email, and you can also watch past episodes and segments of Indigenous Circle on our CTV Regina and CTV Saskatoon websites.
Indigenous Circle, brought to you in part by Saskatchewan Indigenous Enterprise Foundation, growing the First Nation entrepreneurial spirit.
Still ahead, more on the Air Canada tentative deal and when operations will be back to normal. And Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre is heading back to the House of Commons. Back to our top story, some relief for Air Canada passengers with a tentative deal in place between the airline and the union representing 10,000 flight attendants. CTV's Heather Wright reports on a deal and when air travel will be back to normal.
Lines begin forming inside Terminal 1 at Toronto's Pearson Airport this afternoon, with Air Canada flights slowly returning to the air.
What's this process been like for you?
Hell. The airline has warned getting back to normal could take 7 to 10 days, and many passengers are still stuck in limbo.
Getting bits and pieces. They don't seem to know what's going on themselves.
After 3 days on the picket line, CUPE, the union representing the roughly 10,000 Air Canada flight attendants, announced early this morning it had reached a deal with the airline. Full details of the agreement haven't been released, but Air Canada says its flight attendants will not only be the best paid in the country, they will also be compensated for pre- and post-flight work. With the deal now reached, the airline turns its attention to repairing its reputation.
We're deeply apologetic for what's going on. We understand the impact, the profound impact that this has had. We're going to do everything possible to get people home as quickly as we can.
Not paying flight attendants for on-the-ground work has been a common practice within the airline industry. And by changing its policy, experts expect other unions to ask for a similar deal in the future.
This will change the dynamics. This will eventually end up costing consumers more to fly because it increases the airline or the air carriers' costs of doing business. So we'll end up paying for this.
Prime Minister Mark Carney weighed in on the deal on social media, writing, "It is my hope that this will ensure flight attendants are compensated fairly at all times, while ending disruption for hundreds of thousands of Canadian families, workers, and visitors to Canada." The strike has shone a light on the issue of unpaid work, with the Federal Jobs Department saying today its probe into these allegations will take between 6 and 8 weeks.
Air Canada says it hopes to get between 15 and 20% of its flights in the air today as it ramps up service. Because most of its fleet had to be returned to domestic airports due to the strike, every plane has to undergo engine and safety checks before it's clear to fly. Heather Wright, CTV News, Mississauga, Ontario.
Now, not long after flight attendants went out on strike, Ottawa ordered them back to work under Section 107 of the Canada Labour Code, a measure that gives the government the power to end work stoppages. Didn't go over well, the union refusing to comply. CTV's Rachel Aiello now on what the defiance could mean for future labour disruptions.
The federal government moving so swiftly to try and force flight attendants back to work, and Air Canada stating it expected that move to be enforced, has riled up the organized labor movement, which is already predicting the way this dispute played out will be precedent-setting.
They were using this as a crutch, and over the weekend, the flight attendants made sure that that crutch snapped.
Workers' unions say they've been emboldened by the last 24 hours and flight attendants' ability to get a deal at the table after defying a federal arbitration order.
I very strongly hope that the message that this sends to employers and to our federal government is stay out of interference in collective bargaining and do not expect government to ride to your rescue.
The Liberal government has invoked Section 107 of the Canada Labour Code multiple times, including in recent port and rail strikes. But some Labour leaders hope the Air Canada instance was their last.
The message to parliamentarians is that this section of the Canada Labour Code has got to go.
Asked today if she was concerned that how this strike played out has laid the groundwork for Section 107 to no longer be a viable tool in future disputes, Jobs Minister Patty Hajdu's office wouldn't say.
I think what is going to happen over the next little while is Section 107 of the Canada Labour Code that some people argue has been abused in recent years by the federal government, is maybe hit a wall, and is maybe there's going to be the brakes put on it. Because the only power that directive has is when workers comply.
Flight attendants are denying your back to work order. The government is also being accused of misreading the public mood.
Their decision to force flight attendants back to work so quickly actually inflamed the issue. It forced them to defy orders of government. It sort of really went against what I think the Carney brand is built on. And to many Canadians, that decision didn't really feel right.
The question is now whether other unions would react similarly if talks break down. And with Canada Post heading back to the bargaining table in its protracted dispute with postal workers, we could soon get that answer. Rachel Aiello, CTV News, Ottawa.
Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre will return to the House of Commons next month after winning a federal by-election in Alberta last night.
I am grateful that I will have the chance to be their humble servant, to fight every day and in every way for the people in this region who feed, power, and protect all of Canada.
Poilievre won more than 80% of the vote in the riding of Battle River Crowfoot. He told supporters getting to know the people in the region has been the privilege of his life. Poilievre has already signaled he will call on the federal Liberals to begin construction of at least 2 pipeline projects and a road to the Ring of Fire in Ontario by mid-March. In January, Poilievre will undergo a mandatory leadership review at the Conservatives' National Convention. Any leader who has just lost an election must face a secret ballot vote on their future. Boats, drones, and aircraft are combing the northern Manitoba wilderness in search of a missing hiker after his dog arrived at his destination without him. 29-year-old Stefan Shettelvik was reported missing last Friday. The Norwegian traveler left Fort Severn with 2 dogs. Shettelvik was expected to arrive in York Factory on Friday. When he didn't turn up, local guides used a helicopter to search the area with dangerous terrain and wildlife, including polar bears and wolves. Coming up, an Atlanta, Canada teenager has become a viral sensation after singing a Johnny Cash song at karaoke.
Time to set that back-to-school budget. In the morning, we're getting you the help you might need with dealing with classroom costs from those who know at BDO.
News, weather, and traffic. It's everything you need. CTV Morning Live, weekdays 6 to 9.
Welcome back to another warm day in southern Saskatchewan. Beautiful sight out through our sky cam. Currently sitting at 33 degrees. As I mentioned earlier, we did warm up to 34. The winds, however, have been picking up. So currently the winds are gusting up to about 40 kilometers an hour. Still feeling in the high 30s right now, despite the fact that we are heading into the evening. So even the cool down is not going to be very cool, at least not for tonight. But I'll talk about that in a second. So this is what we have in effect right now. We have the excessive heat warnings in southern Saskatchewan, and then nestled just right into south central Saskatchewan, we are seeing some severe thunderstorm watches in effect right now. Essentially, Environment and Climate Change Canada saying that conditions are favorable for the development of some thunderstorms in the area, which would include strong wind gusts, some heavy rain, and even some possibility of some hail. But as of right now, they are just watches. There are no thunderstorms in the vicinity in any of these areas. So just something to keep in mind. You may see alerts. If they bump up to warnings, that means that there is, in fact, a thunderstorm nearby. But this is what we have coming up when it comes to active weather. That system right there between Regina and Assiniboia could be what has prompted these watches, because we could start to see some precipitation coming through the area. Now, heading into the overnight, we could possibly see some more storm activity in the southwest into the Maple Creek area. They're very small systems and also just little pockets of rain that we could possibly see come through heading into tomorrow morning, or areas around Swift Current, even around the Regina area and around the Parkland. It's primarily in northern Saskatchewan that will be seeing most of this rain over the next couple of days. And a lot of the rain that we could see for central southern Saskatchewan would be mostly from the evening and the overnight into early morning hours, and then leaving us with mostly clear conditions during the daytime. So even by Wednesday evening, seeing some of those storm cells again around the Saskatoon area, and even just bordering in the Parkland area there around the Yorkton down into the Estevan area. It's all expected to be overnight. Same when we see that rain returning, reaching into the Parkland by early morning Thursday. For the most part, during the days, we're going to see mainly sunny conditions for much of the rest of this week, and the rain again sticking to mostly northern Saskatchewan. But I will show you what we could expect when it comes to rainfall totals between now into about Friday morning. You can see the north is going to see a lot of it, close to 50 for Buffalo Narrows, close to 40 for La Ronge, and then around Kindersley, close to 20, and Weyburn could see a little bit around the 10-millimeter mark, but even then I think that's on the higher range of what we could see, because largely we're seeing trace amounts for southern Saskatchewan as well. So keep that in mind over the next couple of days. Again, a lot of that rain will be overnight. As you can see, our daytime highs are still going to be quite warm. A little cooler for La Loche tomorrow, rain and 19, but down into the Prince Albert area, 26, and a mix of sun and cloud. And then same story as we've been seeing today, those temperatures continuing to basically mirror what we have seen today. 36 expected for Estevan tomorrow, mainly sunny there. And for Regina, not really much of a cool down tonight. 18 degrees, winds up to 40 kilometers an hour. And tomorrow, another warm day, 32 degrees, could feel closer into the mid-30s again tomorrow. Mainly sunny, and the winds up to 25 kilometers an hour. As for the next 7 days, there is do we call it a cool down when we're still in the 20s? A little bit of a break from the extreme heat. 32 degrees tomorrow, mainly sunny, 23 and windy on Thursday, winds up to 55 kilometers an hour. Friday, the wind sticking around, gusting up to 65 kilometers an hour with a daytime high of 20 degrees. For your weekend, low 20s, a lot of sunshine, and then as we head into the next work week, Monday, sunshine, and then temperatures back into your seasonal range of about 25, 26 degrees. So a little bit of a break from these extreme temperatures, but I don't want to say there may not be another 30-degree day before school starts for many, or before the fall arrival. So enjoy what we have tomorrow.
Yeah, it's going to be on. It could be the last one. You never know.
I'm not saying it's the last.
I'm just saying the last one. You never know.
Okay.
You never know.
Okay. Okay.
Taylor Swift, Chappell Rowan, Morgan Wallen, plenty of current artists with songs that teenagers love to sing along to. But for one Cape Breton girl, her choice for karaoke was Johnny Cash. And now she's a social media viral sensation. Brianne Foley has more.
But I was like, well, I'll sing, but if I'm going to sing, I'm singing Johnny Cash.
Anne Macquarie wanted a quiet night. Instead, she made lots of noise on the internet.
I was on my way home from school. I was with my dad, and my mom called and said she was at the tavern, and she wanted us to go and sing karaoke. So I was kind of tired. It was late-ish, and I was like, at first it was like, no, I'm not going to go. And then we were like, okay, we'll go. We got there, and I was just going to eat and then leave, but she was like, no, you have to sing a song.
So that it was fitting with a little bit of help from 8 after kids. A rendition tradition of one piece at a time reached farther than she could imagine.
Someone came up to me, 2 people actually, and were like, "Oh, are you the Johnny Cash girl?" I remember like calling my brother who lives away, and I was gonna tell him, and he already knew. He was like, "Yeah, like this is crazy," like. And then we were just like checking in throughout the day, like being like, and now it's at this many. Like it was going up like crazy.
So her brothers had to jump into the ring of fire and make it a family affair.
And that's when we noticed that something was definitely wrong.
Did it with my 2 older brothers, and that was a lot of fun too. And some of the comments were like, "Oh, when am I gonna catch one of these performances?"
As for Anne, she's still shocked she walked the line.
It's definitely cool. I'm really surprised that it happened with that song, because that's not something that I would normally do. So it's pretty funny that that's how it happened, but that's the internet, I guess.
The Johnny Cash Girl has over 800,000 views and counting. The Macquarie family and, of course, Inverness are pushing for 1 million. Brian Foley, CTV News, Halifax.
Still ahead, a look at the Riders' dominating defense heading into a Western showdown with Calgary.
Wardrobe consideration in part by Colin O'Brien Men's Shop.
The Riders back practicing, preparing for another Saturday showdown. This time it's against the Stamps in Calgary, the only team that they've lost to this season. Starting safety Nelson Lacombo did not practice because of a hip injury, but the rest of the defensive starters should be good to go. And as Jacob Carr tells us, they'll enter the game on quite the roll.
In the CFL game, to keep an opponent out of the end zone in one game is impressive, but to do it 2 games in a row, a rarity.
Or, we'd love to always keep offenses out of the end zone in this league. I haven't seen a whole ton of that, but certainly something that I know the guys will continue to push for.
So rare, in fact, that according to Riders senior journalist and historian Rob Vanstone, this iteration of the defensive unit became just the 7th in team history to accomplish the feat. But what has allowed them to be so stifling as of late?
We got defensive linemen like Caleb Sanders out there, always hooping and making plays, man. It's really, it makes playing football real easy when you got guys like that. Micah Johnson, guys like that. Defense, it starts with them, right? It starts with them in the trenches. So it really makes football easy when they're playing like that. And after that, again, it's just communication, attention to detail, and being able to play together.
Despite the impressive feat, the Riders are trying not to read their own press clippings and have their sights solely focused on the Calgary Stampeders, who handed Saskatchewan their only loss of the year. And the defense is looking for a better performance than what they showed in Week 6.
I mean, you look at the stats, they ran the ball over us. I think it's the only team that's really had majority success running the ball on us. So, I mean, we got to stop that first of all. And if we do that, like I said, make a team one-dimensional, we know what plays are coming. We can stop them.
Allen says the Riders head into this game with a chip on their shoulder, knowing they had plenty of missed assignments in the first matchup with the Stamps.
Yeah, I think it definitely starts with correcting what we really messed up on. And part of it was, again, was physicality, right? We weren't physical. We got our butts kicked last time. They were the more physical team, which it can't happen if you want to win football games.
The West Division showdown could have big implications. A win for the Riders puts them 6 points ahead of Calgary, while a loss would bring the Stamps within 2 points of first place Saskatchewan. Jacob Carr, CTV News, Regina.
End of August approaching, the Regina Pats are preparing for the start of the 25-26 season. Organization marketing team made their first move, announcing fans can join the Blue Brigade, giving fans insider access, game day perks, giveaways, gear discounts, partner discounts, and more to enhance the fan experience. The slogan, Blue Runs Deep.
We've had great themes in the past of, join the regiment and see them rise or ignite. Those have been great, but it seems like as we get to the end of the season, we've just got everybody on board, and now we're switching. We will still keep using Join the Regiment. That's been around for a long time, so we'll continue to use Join the Regiment. But Blue Runs Deep, the Blue Brigade, that is meant to stay. It's meant to be long-lasting.
Pats training camp officially hits the ice next Wednesday, highlighted by first overall pick Maddox Schultz. Coming up, SaskTel will no longer be producing phone books.
let's take a look at your rural forecast heading into tomorrow. We're going to see very warm temperatures for many parts of the province. A little cooler, a little further north in Saskatchewan, but as you can see, we're still seeing those temperatures above seasonal for areas like Hudson Bay, Melfort, Watrous, Wynyard, even down in Outlook, 31 degrees. Meadow Lake could see some precipitation, a risk of thunderstorm, 21 tomorrow for Meadow Lake, 23 and a risk of thunderstorm for Spiritwood tomorrow, and 29 and a mix of sun and cloud for Kindersley. Now, closer to the south there, we're going to see a lot more warmer temperatures in the 30s. Again, this is all in the area that we are seeing those excessive heat warnings. So 32 degrees for Carlisle, Pilot Butte, Assiniboia, Lumsden, Rockland, 33 for Coronach, 31 for Maple Creek. But if we take a closer look at La Loche, which is farther up north, it's going to be complete opposite of what we're going to be seeing in southern Saskatchewan. 19 degrees, feeling more like 21 degrees tomorrow, but we're going to see rain throughout the entire day in La Loche between morning into the evening and down even into the overnight. Could see over 10 millimeters of rain just tomorrow.
Remember when you needed a phone book if you wanted to maybe find a plumber, look up a friend's number? Well, with the internet, phone books are usually just used for doorstops these days. And as Hallie Mandrick tells us, you won't be seeing the heavy page turner anymore. SaskTel is no longer legally obligated to produce them.
SaskTel's obligation to the Canadian Radio, Television and Telecommunications Commission requiring them to print phone books is no more. But that doesn't mean the Saskatchewan phone book is going anywhere anytime soon.
That doesn't necessarily mean that we are going to stop or change the way that we distribute phone books. It just provides SaskTel with the flexibility to evolve the way that we distribute phone books in the future.
According to Jacobs, nearly 12,000 businesses across the province advertise in the phone book, and the company is still seeing a demand from some folks who simply prefer a physical phone book as opposed to the digital option.
From a small business perspective, it's a really great way to reach out to potential customers or those who might be in your community may not have heard of your service. It's also a good tool for anyone who might not be as comfortable with technology as younger generations are.
CTV asked some Saskatoon residents about the last time they used a phone book.
I don't honestly remember. It's been like 3+ years at least.
It was many years ago.
Probably, I don't know, maybe 7 or 8 years ago.
I don't know what that is. As SaskTel has no plans to cease production anytime soon, residents also shared their thoughts on the future of the phone book.
The only thing that I wish they would have the cell phone numbers in the phone book. And they don't.
Do you think they should keep printing them in Saskatchewan?
Yes, I do, because people do use them.
Yeah, some people still use them.
No, to be honest.
I would like to have a phone book.
Yeah, why is that?
Well, it used to be you could look up somebody in there, but I guess nowadays people don't want their name in the phone book anyway, so.
While Saskatchewan phone books won't be going away, anyone who does not wish to receive one can opt out online on the Direct West website. And they are 100% recyclable, so any unwanted books can be tossed in the blue bin. Hallie Mandrick, CTV News, Saskatoon.
Meanwhile, Saskatoon reporting another round of positive Dutch elm disease cases. As Keenan Sorikon tells us, city crews continue to find more wood on people's properties, allowing the disease to continue.
Dutch elm disease is on the rise again, with the city reporting a number of new cases in 5 different neighborhoods across the city. In some neighborhoods, the affected trees are near recent cases, while other neighborhoods are encountering the disease for the first time.
Kind of all over the city, we're seeing it in various places, which is likely due to wood being moved around.
Storing elm wood for any period of time has also become a growing concern. The city moves in to destroy affected trees and test nearby ones, but crews also sweep a 1-kilometer radius of any wood stored in neighborhoods. So far this season, the city has destroyed more than 4,000 kilograms of seized wood.
One log is almost like, it's like a ticking time bomb. Elm bark beetles get into that log, they get the fungus on them, and they will fly to nearby healthy trees to feed.
Arborist David Kearns specializes in insect and disease control. He says years of drought or dry conditions have made more trees susceptible to Dutch elm disease, and the threat of costly fines or jail jail time hasn't stopped the disease from flourishing recently.
What started off as a big Dutch elm disease scare has turned into a Dutch elm disease reality.
Kearns says one prohibitive factor is the cost to destroy a tree, which can range from a few $100s up to $7,000. He says Dutch elm disease is everyone's problem, not just a municipal problem.
I think a lot of people aren't seeing the connection between the tree in their backyard and the hundreds of thousands, if not tens of millions of dollars that the city of Saskatoon is going to be on the hook for controlling this problem.
Elmwood can be disposed of at the landfill for free, but without increased efforts, Kearns says roughly a quarter of Saskatoon's trees are at risk. Keenan Sorakan, CTV News, Saskatoon.
The TSX went down by 98 points today. The Dow Jones up by 10 points. The Canadian dollar, meanwhile, went down a little more than 0.3 to 72.12 cents US. Gold down $16.93. West Texas Intermediate crude down 93 cents, while Western Canadian Select crude was down 85 cents. And gas in Regina currently sitting at $1.35.9 per liter.
The Consumer Price Index rose 1.7% year over year in July. That is a drop from the 1.9% increase in June. Inflation cooled with the help of a 16% drop in the price of gas. But Canadians did pay more for groceries last month. The price of coffee spiked 28%, and sweet treats jumped almost 12% because cocoa beans cost more. Fresh grapes went up 30%. Home Depot says there will be a modest increase in product prices as it starts passing on the cost of tariffs. The company reported earnings that slightly missed expectations, pointing to consumers delaying major renovation projects. Washington announced today expanded tariffs. More than 400 new products that have parts made from steel or aluminum will be hit with a 50% duty. Things like fire extinguishers or furniture. It's the same tariff rate Canadian steel and aluminum producers have faced for months. Those are your business headlines. I'm Morella Fernandez.
Coming up tonight, we've got a triple Big Bang Theory from 7:30 to 9 o'clock. And then, of course, Amazing Race Canada right after that. So E-Talk at 7, moving up. It's been a popular contest in recent years. Legacy Co-op's Name the Fuel Truck.
Yeah, this year's winner was Ada Lynn, who chose the name Gasper, like Casper, but with a G. Legacy Co-op Board of Directors chose the finalists with the public voting the eventual winner, and Gasper has a clear favorite. Congrats to Ada Lynn.
Yeah, she's pretty excited to see that license plate go up.
Gasper. All right, well, the search for the next Air Bud has begun, and contestants are submitting their applications.
The Air Bud family searching for a purebred golden retriever to star in Air Bud Returns, carrying the, believe it or not, 14-film franchise forward. Producers say the golden must embody the charm and athleticism of the original Air Bud star, so it must be able to dunk.
Yep.
And, of course, love basketball. The deadline to submit an application, August the 22nd. If you think your golden is buttable.
There's 14 of those films?
I did not think there was, but apparently there is.
Well,
maybe they should try other dogs.
Like what?
I don't know. Our dog,
Chihuahua?
Doggy.
Oh, yeah.
The King Charles Cavalier. Good at two things, lying on a couch and side-eyeing me. I don't know why she side-eyes me. I don't know why Sabine side-eyes me.